Hello there, and welcome to another video tutorial from Stamping with Val. And today I'm going to share this fun birthday card with you. It's a fairly clean and simple birthday card. It's not too long to make, but there is a bit of fussy cutting here and a little bit of watercolouring for the title there, so it doesn't quite fall into my quick card category, although I'm fairly certain there are ways that you could make it quicker. So this could be one you could get out in a hurry, but I've taken a bit of time over this one. Because I've got some watercolouring, I am armed with some scrap paper so that I'm not painting directly onto my board. And I'll warn you now, watercolouring is not my strong point. As you can see, the yaw came, it was meant to have that sort of ombre look, and the yaw came out quite well, but the it's a little bit on the dark side. So I'll try and do a little bit better today for you guys, and we'll keep your fingers crossed for that. So let's go ahead. We'll start with a Whisper White card base. There's a surprise. The thick A4 Whisper White, cut in half from the short side, so the full length, and then scored through the middle for a card base with a score across the top. Today for our stamp set we're using the Marquee Messages. This is a one stamp set card. I love those. We are using parts of this. We're using the It's Your, we're using the Birthday, and we're using the Party Like a Rock Star. So lots of things to keep us going and keep us busy. So let's go ahead and make our card, starting with the base, I think. So I've got the It's Your mounted onto a block, and I've got my Memento. Any ink pad that will work with watercolour. I don't think you're actually even supposed, I'm not sure if you're supposed to use Memento, but it's actually the only black I own, so we'll be going with that. But StazOn would probably be the best choice, I think. So having inked that up, I'm going to try and get it straight in the top half of my card and in the middle. I'm going to go for it about there and hope for the best. Not bad. And now we're going to watercolour it with kind of like an ombre effect. I've got my aqua painter. It's got a tiny bit of water in it, but I really don't want it very wet. Like I say, I'm not actually the world's best watercolour, so I'm probably not the right person to be. I think it's got some water in it. If it has, it's not much. I don't want it very wet otherwise, because this is just standard white card and it'll get soggy quickly. It's not watercolour paper. So I've got some ink in the base of my Melon Mambo ink pad, and I'm going to start by giving the letters a very pale wash. So I'm only picking up the palest of colours, and I'm actually going to ditch quite a lot of it off onto my kitchen roll. And then I'm going to colour the letters in very lightly, trying not to get them too wet with this pale wash. And I'm trying to do it quickly because we're on the video, so you're obviously going to take a little bit more time over it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a second, but basically I'm going to add a slightly darker wash now to sort of the bottom 2/3. Okay, so now remember, you can always add more ink, but it's obviously impossible to take it away, which is what happened on my original card and why it's got too dark too quickly. Okay, and then finally I'm going to go back in with a really dark wash. I'm still keeping the brush pretty dry. It helps there's not a lot of water in my aqua painter, and I'm still taking some of the excess off, but now I'm just going to go back where I've taken less off. Oh, this one's coming out way better than my original, even if I am getting it everywhere. that one needs to be a bit darker. Okay, I'm just sort of doing the bottom third. There you go, that's not too bad. You can take a bit more time over it, obviously do. Okay, but actually that's come out fairly well. I'm quite pleased with that. So like I say, because that's not watercolour card, I've kept the brush really very dry. There was actually almost virtually no water in the bottom of my aqua painter there. But that's okay. So that's pretty good. I'm just going to pop that to one side and leave that to dry. But actually that's not got too wet, so we've not got pilling, but we've definitely got that kind of ombre watercolour effect. So I'm pleased with that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this sort of birthday part. And for that, I've got 3 colours of card. I've got Melon Mambo, Emerald Envy and Crushed Curry. And I've got the big bannery bit of the card, but we only need this bottom section. Okay, so back with the old Memento ink again. And for the first one, I'm only inking up the bottom bit. And the first one, I'm going to change my colours around a little bit. So I want the Crushed Curry on the top this time. I'm going to put the Emerald Envy underneath. So I've gone ahead, I've inked all that up. And I'm going to pop that onto the Emerald Envy like that. Like so. For the Melon Mambo, I can do the same again, but really I only want the stars. Not bothered about the rest of it, so just make sure they've got plenty of ink on. And that's all that matters. And again, this is why I've got my bit of paper down. Okay, and then lastly, the one that's going to go on the top is going to be the Crushed Curry, but we just need to be a little bit clever with this one, and I'll show you. So you'll see that when I stamped this one up, you'll see that I've got the banner part, but I've got the bottom of this arrow coming over this bit. So if you look in my original card, that's not there. Okay, I don't want that arrow in it, okay, because I'm not using the rest of the stamp. So I need to get rid of that bit. So I probably should have done this one first. So I've gone ahead and I've cleaned all this up so that I haven't got any stray ink. It doesn't matter about catching some bits from this side down, which is there, because those are going to get cut off anyway. It's just really that arrow we don't want in there. So I'm going to ink up that way. Okay, but I'm stopping when I'm getting near the arrow. I'm going to ink up around the bottom. You could use a marker for inking up all of this bit, but there's quite a lot to do, so I'm going to use the ink pad. I'm just going to avoid that bit there, basically. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp that onto my bit of card. And I've got quite a bit of ink all over the place, but it hasn't transferred, so that's okay. And then we've just got that line, and all we're going to do is we're going to take a ruler and our black Stampin' Right marker, and we're just going to join it up. Simple as that. So, and that way it looks like it was solid all along, when actually it wasn't. And into this one, we want to stamp the birthday. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'll do all the, look at that. I'll do all the fussy cutting off screen because that's boring. But let's do all the stamping now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop that inside that window. Like so. So now we need to cut these out. So you want the old paper snips. So for the pink one, I'm going to do most of it off screen, but I'll just show you what to do. For the pink one, I'm going to cut just the stars out. That's all. Okay. For the yellow one, I am going to cut out around this solid line. I'm not even going to get upset if I cut the edges of the stars off, because those are going to get covered by the pink ones later. So I'm not even going to bother cutting around those ones for this one. For the green one, I want to include all of those black bits, and so I probably will go around the stars for those ones, but I want all those black stripy bits as well. Okay, and then we're going to build up the layers. So I'll go ahead and cut these out, and obviously you'll see them cut out, and then we can start assembling the rest of the card. So here we are. I've done my fussy cutting, so you can see the different pieces that I've ended up with. So with the emerald one, I've still got the stripy bits, but for the yellow one, I've taken that off, and the really fussy bits are actually the stars. They're what take the time to do. So I'm going to start by sticking the curry piece to the emerald piece, because that's easy. A couple of dimensionals, and then I just basically want to line this up over the top so that it matches. Okay, there we go. That was simple. The stars, I could find a tiny scrap of dimensional and put it on, but I'm actually not going to. So I've got a little bit of Tombow. You'd probably be better off with a fine tip glue, to be honest. Okay, and all I'm going to do, the fun bit is remembering where the stars came from. If you cut them out on your desk and then done something else, you're like, is that the left hand star or the right hand star? Ask me how I know. Okay, so I'm just going to use a little bit of glue just to stick those in place, like so. Easy. And then when they're dry, you would flip it over. Another couple of dimensionals on the back. Run out, we're into the side scraps now. And we can bring our base card back in. After all that fussy cutting, that's well and truly dry by now. So this just sticks underneath the It's Your bit. Trying to get it how I want it, like so. We're going to finish off with the Party Like a Rock Star sentiment. Okay, you could pop that inside, you could leave it off the front if you prefer it just like that, and put this inside, but I thought the front just needed a little something else. I'm going to try and get this lined up straight with the bottom, hopefully. I want to sort of tuck it in that hole there. There we go. And then finally I've finished it off with some of the the enamel stars. So I've got the emerald envy to bring that colour back in now, and I'm just going to pop a couple of those onto my card. There we go, just to finish it off. Okay, and there you have it. Marquee Messages, fun, bit of ombre watercolouring, bit of fussy cutting, fun birthday card, and getting a bit more out of that stamp set. I hope you've enjoyed today's video tutorial, and I'll be back again with lots more projects soon. Okay, bye!